new to Nigerian culture is that we like playing music loud and talking over it, and have the television loud as well and talking over it. You know, that's all. It just has to go all. But there's a music by one of my friends, Pastor Bala, talking about, you know, fighting, basically. Gideon, which is exciting for me. So I want to start today by just playing a little bit of that song. But I think we've got enough of that, so I'm going to try and stop it. Yeah, how do we do that? Technology. Awesome. Great. We got it figured out. Okay, I'm excited. You must have noticed because I have an amazing people as my guests today. I want to start off by saying a lot has been happening in Nigeria, and for those of you that have had the opportunity to follow us as we go through these things, for 1 week we were doing every day an hour, sometimes a little bit over an hour updates, and we had various people coming to talk about these issues as they were happening. And we've taken a little break because, again, things are happening more on the ground. And but today we really want to, you know, let every emotions. Of course, with due respect to those lives that have been lost already in this process happening in Nigeria. And if you are really following the news, you will understand that what is happening in Nigeria is not unique to Nigeria. Most African nations are going through tough times, and I have the pleasure to have today as my guests. They are two sisters. They are not twins. They are two sisters, and yeah. I'm getting excited. Let me. Ike, come on, you got this. Okay, all right. They're amazing people, and I'm glad to have them here today. Grace Ekwe has worked in education for over 13 years, and she taught U.S. history, and now focuses on instructional and technology. Grace has a master's in curriculum and instructions, and she is also a post and published author. Grace, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
Whoa, published author. That's amazing. I didn't get that before, but I'm glad I'm reading it again so I can, you know. Yeah, okay, I go on. Hope, on the other hand, Hope held position as a broadcast news and public sector public relations for the past decade, and she has a bachelor's degree in broadcast communications with a master's in public administration. And Hope is the director of communications and marketing for a school district, and runs her own consulting firm. She also writes and creates videos for her lifestyle blog. And Hope, you're welcome to the show once again.
Thank you.
Awesome. Ladies, it's amazing really to have the two of you here, with the understanding that I was actually, if you've not seen this video, you will see it on my wall for our viewers. Hope inspired me to do this particular interview on corruption and Democrats. And again, this might come as a shocking, but I kind of went back to 2006, Hope, and I started reading my mails when I started consulting you on, you know, basically what I'm doing now. Those were your early years in the university and all. And I was laughing so hard, and I'm like, okay, oh, this is good. So we're back to it after many, many years. But I remember those days I would call her to kind of, hey, can you look at this and give me a feedback? So it's been a long time coming.
It has been.
So enough of that. Let me get down to the deal. Why these amazing ladies are here, and to educate us. This is, if you are listening, this is going to be more of an educative show, because we want to find out with all this that has happened in Nigeria. and the emotions are high. Now they are beginning to calm down. Do we just walk away from all this? And what are we even fighting? What are we even fighting? I had some men and gentlemen in this show last week, and some of them were of the belief that democracy cannot work in Nigeria. That, forget it. Some of them were even requesting that Nigeria should be handled the same way the Philippine president handles them, and even Chinese. I'm like, you want Nigeria to become communist? They say not really, but we need that kind of strong government. So let me bring it back to you. Let me start with you, Hope. The video I've made reference to, people can go and watch it. It's on my wall, or you can find Hope on her wall. She's a blogger, amazing blogger. Now, the question for you, Hope, what do you think? I mean, does this have to do with who is in power, or is it deeper than that?
I think it's a mindset. I think it has to do with who's in power, because obviously that's who leads the country. But
Okay.
it's a mindset of the nation. I don't believe that Nigeria should be communist, but I think that Nigeria has so many strong people. You know that we're a strong people. We're strong-minded. You can't just say whatever and we do it. So you
Yep.
need someone in power who's able to know that.
Mhm.
And I think what happens in Nigeria is just the dividing people. We have to be one mind. You don't have to be a certain tribe or a certain religion to know that everybody needs decent living, to know that everybody needs water and electricity. Those are the basic necessities of life. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of the times politics gets into it. So even when you're providing food, as you can see with the pallet savers they gave to the states,
Mhm.
why wasn't it passed out? So you just have people in government who are feeding off of Nigeria instead of really thinking of what's best for the people. And that's really what it's about. And that's
Mhm.
what government is. It's about providing and making sure the well-being of the public is being met. And it's just not happening.
Wow. Now, Grace, having started and you did teach U.S. history, is there any hope for us? I don't mean your sister name, but hope as in.
Yes, there is hope because similarly in the U.S., we even to this day we're fighting issues with racism
Mhm.
and African Americans being treated like second-class citizens, and this is all the way. Actually, this has been for centuries, but it takes a leader. You need a face of the movement, just like with Dr. King, 50s and 60s. You need someone who will be the face of the movement that
Okay.
will be accepted on all sides, accepted by blacks, whites, and people who will respect someone. And
Mhm.
even today, with the Black Lives Matter movement, it only works if you have the right people in place so that people won't write someone off because of their background or because of their how they grew up. So I think same thing with Nigeria. If you have the right person or people in place
Mhm.
that represent what other tribes and everyone can agree on, like Hope said, we can all agree on the importance of unity and how if we work together,
Yes.
we can make Nigeria this powerful nation.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, Nigeria is not poor. Nigeria is not poor.
No.
Yes, it's a young nation.
Mhm.
The U.S. is over 200 years old. Nigeria 60. So,
Mhm.
so the thing is, you got to understand that it's still a baby country. But look, the U.S. is struggling, and it's over 200 years old. So
Come
it's not
on
going
now.
to be an overnight thing. So
Mhm.
if people understand that it'll take time, and that you have to be in there for the long run,
Mm.
and it won't be overnight, then it does have a chance. We don't have to go extreme with communism, but we can definitely. I understand what you were saying. We definitely need more structure because right now it's chaos.
Mhm.
Right now we allow people to be selfish and just have their own personal gains, like only focus on their personal gain. But if we have someone who's like, no more corruption, it sounds impossible, but someone that is focused on the well-being of others,
Yes.
it can work. I still have hope and faith in Nigeria. It can work. It's still young. There's still time.
Wow. Wow. It's nice you made the comment, that statement that U.S. is over 200 years, and yet they're still dealing with some vital issues, and we are just 60 Nigeria is just 60 years old. There's hope. So that's nice. But again, ladies, now looking at it, we're beginning to see some write-ups. Some people actually, claiming again, because as of now, it's still a faceless a movement. I like the point you bringing up, that there needs to be a face to it, and this face has to be somebody that is not, still, because we have some face movements, but when you listen to them, I'm like, no, I don't believe in that. What are you talking about? It's all about division and division and division, right? If it's not tribal, it's religion. So we need a face movement. We need a face to the movement, but it has to be a balanced, set of people that will lead the movement. And now we are beginning to see, one of the faces we are beginning to see is a youth rise up, where they are saying that that they don't need the older ones, and they've they make a declaration that come 2023, that every young person in Nigeria should not vote for any politician that has been there from 2019 down to 1960. And when I look at that, so they are trying to eliminate the so-called old ones. But we went further to do some research, and we found out the so-called old ones right now, most of them started like young people as well. In their 20s, in their early 30s, right? Now they've gotten old. So the issue really is not that, we're being ruled by old people. Can you speak to that, Grace, please, if you don't mind?
Like you said, age, it's not about age. It's about maturity. It's about understanding the needs of the people. Because here's the thing. With age, yes, comes corruption if it's allowed for a long time.
Okay.
But that's not to say that if you clear out the old people, the young ones won't go through that same pattern of power, corruption, greed. So it's not about age. It's about mentality. It's about people coming together and understanding that we need to really get rid of the negative forces that are hindering the nation. We gotta stop thinking about ourselves and think about Nigeria's future. Because everyone's just in the here and now. Everyone's thinking about, oh, I just got elected, so I'm gonna do everything I can for me now until I get out of office. Because then who cares? I got everything I wanted out of the deal. You gotta think of the future of Nigeria. Wow. Nigeria is being eaten up by another wave of colonization, letting people come in, take our resources, and then leave the country with their resources taken away. And that's not helping the nation as a whole. Forget tribes, forget age. But we have to think about how to make Nigeria stronger so we can stand against other powers in this around the world. Because we are rich in oil and other resources, but it's hard to tell when there's so much corruption taking money out of the country.
Wow. Man, this is so good, guys. You can't even now. If you're just joining us, I have Grace, Ekwe, and Hope. As our guests today. It's again they are how do I put it? Nigerians by parents. Okay. So let me put it this way: they were born in the United States, right?
No, I was born in Nigeria. I was born in the U.S.
Grace was born in Nigeria.
I was born in Memphis.
Way to know your interview.
Oh! You see, I got. Well, okay. All right. So I take it back. So again, but the point I was trying to make is that you guys have lived for a long time outside. So we are kind of having, because sometimes you need to step away or invite someone that is outside but monitoring what is going on to give you a kind of view of what actually you're dealing with, because sometimes we get muddled up with our environment, that we begin to focus on on what the real issues are. And with that, we've noticed again that there are actually two tribes in Nigeria. Fortunately, unfortunately rather, there are two tribes in Nigeria, and it's called the oppressor and the oppressed and the oppressors. And when you look at these things, you just find out that because when the shooting happened on 22nd of October, they weren't asking which tribe were you. They were just shooting. And it's been I don't even want to go there because it's been a joke between the governor of the state and the military. First, the governor of the states denied, the military denied. Now, the governor of the state is saying, oh, by the way, the faces from the video is the military. The military now comes up and say, by the way, we were invited by you.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at this now. If you've been to Nigeria, if you grew up in Nigeria, you will know. I mean, Nigerians are already making videos out of it, trying to make it a fun thing because this is what we've been going through, suffering. Those that are still living in Nigeria continue to live in Nigeria. So the question is actually, help us to, because in your video you were making the argument that this is way more than just tribes. You were taking it back to the colonial days. Can you help us have an understanding on that place?
Well, I think it's just the way Nigeria came about. You had slavery, you had the slave trade, so obviously they were taking labor and bringing them to the Western world, and then you had colonization. So then you had Great Britain using Nigeria as a way to feed them. It was always, what can Nigeria do for us? No one actually stopped and thought, even with the revolution that happened in 1960, no one actually thought, okay, now that we're free, how can we better ourselves? It just turned into leadership, really turning into a dictatorship, so to speak, and just taking the same resources. So instead of saying, we don't have to do any, we don't have to divvy the resources, how can we keep it here? How can we keep ourselves strong for the future? What do we want the future of Nigeria to be? It just turned into, okay, well, I'm in power now, so I'm getting the money. And here my cabinet, and they're getting the money. And you have people who are living in horrible conditions, desolate conditions, not being able to get clean water, which is ridiculous. And then you have people who are sleeping on millions of nairas. So just that disconnect is what is not, good. It's not necessarily unique to Nigeria, like you have said.
Yes.
It's a leadership thing. I mean, if you look at any system, even if you don't know Nigeria, if you look at any system and you see how do we reform a system. I work in school districts, so we always look at movies like Lean on Me. If you guys are familiar with it. What happens? You have a bad school district, you need someone to turn it around. You get someone who's tough and knows what the vision is and who isn't afraid to get rid of the rotten apples. You come and say, no, we're not doing this. We don't do this. We don't do this. And people are not going to like you. You're going to have people who like you, people who don't like you. But at the end of the day, if you know that your heart is for the people, your heart is for Nigeria, people are going to follow you. And that's what they need right now, because there is so much distrust in government. The government right now could say, hey, everybody's getting 100 naira, 100 million naira, whatever money. You're not going to believe them. They can say anything and no one's going to believe them. And that's not good for government. If you have trust and you don't have trust, you don't have the heart of the people, and it's your own country, and that's what you need.
Thank you. That's very important. Now, which way forward, though? So a lot of things is happening and keep happening. Which way forward? I mean, Grace have said, guys, you are just 60. It's not going to happen overnight. Are there step-by-step process to this kind of, revolution, if I may use the word? What do you think?
Yes, protests are just for awareness. Now everyone's aware. It's on a global level. You cannot sustain a movement with just protests.
Okay.
You've got to change it with legislation. So now we have the youth bringing awareness to it. So now we need lawmakers and people, lawmakers in order to change the laws in place that'll change things long term. Because even with the civil rights movement of the U.S., it didn't make major waves until laws were in place so that if anyone violated the law, we have a precedent, we have something to look back on and say, you violated this law, so now we can take it to the courts. So it's really got to be legislation and law. We got to start there, and because once there's laws in place, you can get the people and put them accountable. Because the thing is with Nigeria, the reason corruption is allowed is because the people in power do not are not accountable, held accountable for what they're doing. So if there's laws in place that will challenge what they're doing, then hopefully there will be brave, because it's going to take a lot of issues combating corruption, brave judges, people at the top courts that will hold them for what they're doing and put them behind bars or take them out of power so that people can see an example of, oh, if this is what you do, this is what happens to you. Because right now they're getting away with it.
Wow. So I had a lawyer on the show last week, and I asked the question, does Nigeria have in its constitutions what a democratical government should need to have such government? And he said, yes. I quoted the 1999 constitution, updated that it is actually, but the issue is that, and another guest in that show said the issue is that the president is above the constitution. The state governors are above constitution, and we have many times seen this played out where a court in Nigeria says something else, and the government just goes the other way. They don't even care. So when you have this, and knowing that just protesting is just all it does is awareness, all hands have to get to the table. So what hope you seem to be a little bit radical on let me explain what I mean by the word radical. About how I'm referring to your views, when you believe on things. I take, for example, when you did videos about the African hair. I mean, if you've not seen that video and you're a woman, you're an African, go find her videos on, how, many people don't believe Africans can have long hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right? And you were radical about, maintaining that opinion, and you proved yourself right. Now, what do you? Oh yeah, it amazes me sometimes how I connect things, right? I'm a preacher. I want to connect everything to make it work right.
And I'm waiting for the connection.
Yes. All right. So what? Yeah. Good. I'm loving this. So, what do you think? Actually, now we have this situation of we have the laws. We have the laws to start with, but we still have government that believe that they are above the laws, and they actually are living their life that way. And then we have a situation of the young people protesting and saying enough is enough. But we are now hearing that just protesting is not enough, that we need to get our hands, doing the laws, but we have the laws. So,
I think that is when you're talking about what the young people are talking about doing. I don't think you should overhaul it and just vote for all young people. You have to get the right people in office. So you have to go out and vote for the people. Know who the candidate is. Don't vote for the person because that person has always been in office, or that's your cousin's uncle, and we have to vote for this person. Yeah, so from the same tribe, from the same religion. It's not about that. It's I can be from the same tribe and religion, and we have two different views. So get that out of your head. You literally have to look at what the person is talking about. What can you do for us? And if you like that response, then you vote for them. That's how you little by little get the right people. And if they do wrong, vote them out. That's what the process is. That's how America has kind of gotten to where it is. You do it, you see what works, okay, you're out. But what happens in Nigeria, I think some people either get complacent and they say, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, this is just how it is. We're just always going to be pathetic. Oh, Nigeria, they stop caring, and you have to keep caring. Now that the awareness is there,
Mm.
yes, the laws are there. Maybe the laws can be strengthened up a little, but you have to get judges in order. You have to get people in order who are going to hold themselves accountable to the laws that are there, and the judges who are going to say, no, you can't go above this. Now you're going to jail. And now here's your fine. There should be something in place, and that's where the new blood should be. That's where you should get new people who are about the people and vote everybody else who's about corruption out.
Wow. So there you go. That's where the radical comes in. You got to be radical with your voting, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. You don't just do it and you step back and say, no, I've given my best. It's like Grace has said, it's going to be a long ride. Okay. It's going to be a long ride. And if we understand that, because I think that's the problem with even again living in this time and age where things are kind of, we want fast food. I was almost going to cook my oppa, before this show. I was telling Hope, I say, I got 45 minutes, I got to make my oppa. For those of you that do not know what oppa is, it's a delicious meal. And I was going to do it for 45 minutes and get on the show. We want, because I figured out how to use a pressure cooker and get it fast and done, right? So everything about us is fast, 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 fast. And so when we are not getting results, because we live in a generation that everything is fast, we kind of tend to lose hopes, begin to slack back. Hope, we're using your name in almost every two statements. What's going on?
I think the important thing for that is you have to take it little by little. You can't just think, oh, well, we need a new president. Oh, well, this needs to happen for change to happen. Even in America, if you want change, you have to go locally. We have mayors. We have even, school board presidents, people who don't affect thousands and thousands of people. At least fix it in your own neighborhood. Make sure your town is good. Make sure the people that you have in your little headquarters good, and then it can grow. Then you talk about the governor. Then you talk about the cabinet. Then you talk about the president. But really, fix it in your area first, and then the ripple effect will happen.
Yeah, and she mentioned the president. It's not only about changing the president. The people around him that are his advisors, they need to be trustworthy too. Because the reason the president has unlimited power is the people around him are not checking him. So even if you can respectfully check somebody by saying, oh no, this goes against the law, this is not good. If those people surrounding him every day, helping him make those decisions, are true people of checks and balances, then it prevents the president from being this all-powerful dictator.
That's a dictatorship instead of a democracy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, if you look at Nigeria, it seems to be that's what we are experiencing, because the now president was before a military man, and sometimes he still feels like when the protesting was happening, he didn't want to talk to anybody. And he didn't care until the Ghana president started pleading with him, and he came out and gave basically 11-minute speech. And there was no sympathy, there was no empathy, nothing. And you begin to wonder. So we are back to square one. Be radical with your votes. Do not sell your votes. These are some of the things we see. You sell your vote, the same people that you sell your vote will come back and lord it over you. They will still keep you in poverty. Do not sell your vote. Your vote is your power. And again, people think that, but even when I vote, they rig it. So, there's no need voting. We have all these challenges. So, with the history of America, Grace, would you say that America, for every vote, they've accounted for it, and there's no cheating or nothing, everything is good, so we know what we're dealing with here.
We're a little unique because it's not like we count every single vote. We do have an electoral college that kind of evaluates our vote and takes suggestions, and for the most part, what the people vote in is who goes into office. But yeah, there is a checks and balances thing where there's laws in place that prevent anyone from rigging votes, and you're not allowed to You're not allowed to make people pay for their vote or block them. Provide the time for them to vote. For example, if you're working all day, when are you going to be able to vote? Is your boss going to give you time to go vote? So things like that are in place. They even have early voting where you can vote in any place within your county. You can vote on the weekends. And so it's so there's no excuse so anyone say, well, I didn't have time to vote. You have the opportunity, you can mail in your vote. There's many different opportunities to vote. And even now in the US, because of current conditions, we've had record numbers of votes because people are tired of it.
Yes.
So it gets to the point where we're all tired. People are holding voting registration drives to get other people to register so they'll be eligible to vote. So it does start, like Hope said, at the local level and it builds from there.
But, and then even after that, yes, to go on your specific question, yes, there are instances where, oh, it was rigged. Oh, this happened. But there's an outcry about it. You do something about it. You make sure that you appeal it and challenge it. You know, you can't just say, oh, it's rigged and don't care about it.
Yes.
No, you have to put their feet to the fire and say, okay, well, we think it's rigged. We need a recount. We need to recount that recount. So we need someone to go to jail because this was against the law or something like that. So I just say don't give up just because you think it's rigged or you think there's a conspiracy theory. If you want change to happen, you still have to do your part.
Wow. So we all got our own part to play if we want change to happen. America went through some of these things we are going through now, and they're where they are, and they continue to, you know, make things better every day. And so there is hope for Nigeria. Last week I was writing phrases like Nigeria will rise again. But, you know, having listened to the video you made, Hope, I changed that phrase. And now I say Nigeria must rise. And why I changed that is that we don't want Nigeria to go back to what it's been.
Of course.
Okay? We want a new Nigeria where things should be happening the way they ought to happen. You know, we don't want make Nigeria great again. It's not been great. I'll let that slide. You know, for those in North America, they might understand that phrase. But again, the point here is this, that guys, we have a lot of work to do. So if you're a young person, you are listening to this, the average Nigeria has 2 degrees, you know, wherever they are. And they are experts and professionals and, you know, men and women of values wherever they find themselves in other countries. And so if we have this amount of education within us, you know, we can do something better. I mean, look at the situation of what it was that has been making our news today. I don't know if you ladies have been opportune to hear that is it WTO, the lady, the Ngozi, the one that every other country is saying that she should do this, you know, take this lead, and United States is saying no, we're not. Well, you know the story I'm referring to. So because I've had this situation where people are saying we want US to come to our rescue, we want Europe to come to our rescue. What do you think about that, ladies? I mean, what do you think?
A rescue mission, because then the people of Nigeria will feel like they're victims. That's not what we need. Because the thing is, Nigeria has good people, good minds in place within it, and so I guess it's just a matter of getting advisors. You don't need someone to swoop in and take over that's from the outside, but it wouldn't hurt to let your pride go and then get some advisors from other countries, be like, hey, this is what we have. Do you have suggestions? It doesn't mean we're going to have to listen to everything they say, but it wouldn't hurt to have a little summit or call other nations for their input, because they're from the outside looking in. They've seen it occur in other countries, and they can give fresh eyes and insights. So I think that would be helpful to Nigeria to get some input from other countries that Nigeria respects, so then no one will say, "Oh, don't listen to this person." And I think that would really help them get in on the right foot.
Okay.
And I think they just need to listen to all people. I think because you're Nigerian, you respect your elders, you're supposed to, do this and that. And you're absolutely supposed to. But you also have to understand that you still need to listen to your youth. They're not your children. They're not. The president is not your dad. So he's not necessarily just whatever I say is right.
Yes.
You have to know that the youth is talking. Unemployment, are you listening to us when I say I cannot get a job and I have a master's degree? You have to know that. You can't just say, "Oh, useless folks," and just let them go, and not care about it. The youth is the future. You can't just say, "Oh, we don't care about the youth," and then they grow old and, "Oh, now you're the leader, have fun." You have to have that succession of leadership and be able to, cater them through and provide them a good country to live in when they do get old.
Because it's the tradition.
Yeah.
I think it's Nigerian mentality to allow your elders to do whatever because no one's going to check them. It's, "Oh, no, it's the leader."
Yeah,
and that's not okay. If someone is doing wrong, you can respectfully say, "Oh, that's not right.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't have done this." But people are scared to do that even within their own families.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it within your own family, how are you going to do it at the national level with someone who's not family?
Exactly.
Wow. So we're getting this into family because I was hoping that after this conversation, I will just, as someone elder, hope to cook me olubo soup. But now you're telling me it's not going to work. So
You have a right to say no.
she has a right to say no. Gosh, that hurts. I mean, we had a situation where people died. And people were screaming, we want to hear the president. I was laughing so hard. And finally, when the president spoke, they were like, "What was that?" I'm like, "You got to understand that this is cultural.
Yeah.
It is cultural for him. He can't come out and admit that he's wrong. He can't come out and say sorry. And the worst, he's a man. And because he's a man, he can be crying." So all these cultures, which, by the way, for me, culture again is a way of life, which for me literally means two people come together and they practice something over and over, and they decide this is working for us. It is working. That's the point. Working for us, it becomes a culture. In other words, when it stops working, we change it. We don't hold on to it and say, "It's our culture, I'm going to die on it." For crying out loud, is if it's working for us, then we continue. If it's not working, we change it. That's what culture means. So we have this culture where people, the elders will not say sorry. And they don't have any emotional attach even to their wife. Not to talk about their children. I'm just being real here. I mean, most women in Nigeria get to hear, and with all due respect, that is beginning to change, but good to hear from their husbands, "I love you," the day of the wedding. And that's it. And, that's all. And when it happens. And there was a particular incident where a woman, the man, because the way we speak love, the average those days was by what we give, is the gifts. So they will buy the car, they will build the house, but they will never open their mouth to use the word, right? And so this woman was having issues. The husband was buying her everything, but she still was not happy. And the husband was going on. So they went to their pastor. The man said, "I've done everything for this woman, for my wife. I've done everything." And he was so sure he did everything. And he said, "Pastor, can you believe I change her car almost once every 2 years? I give her parents money. I build house for her and for her parents." And he was naming and naming. And when he was done, the pastor looked at the wife and said, "Is it true what she said?" "Yes." And the woman agreed, said, "Yes, he's been doing all those." And the pastor said, so what the problem? The woman looked at the husband and said, he has never told me he loves me. And the husband was like, really? But I'm doing all these things. You ought to know. So it is a cultural thing where, you know, our vocabularies actually, you know, is a challenge sometimes that it doesn't show in our culture, you know, to express such feelings, you know. So that becomes a challenge. But again, we can always change that. Now, I want to ask, now having lived in the United States and, you know, the education level you guys have and being part of that community, where are some of the areas, and I'm talking about whether it be organizations or whatever they are, that can help, you know. So we've heard we need to get back to family. If we don't start changing the culture in family, it will, you know, in return become what we practice outside. Are there other areas of influences that can help to make this a reality for Nigeria?
Definitely, especially in education.
Okay.
Teachers for sure, because even with the whole Black Lives Matter and things like that, a lot of times we didn't see the schools were becoming like some other world where they wouldn't talk about race, and they were trying to create this perfect world, and kids were being confused. Like my community, we're being disrupted. But then at school, we never talk about it. So do you really care about me, teacher? So I think what we're doing in the schools is encouraging teachers to have race talks, because race is not a taboo word. The more you talk about race issues, the more it's normalized and the more comfortable students are about talking about their feelings and wanting change and becoming allies and working together for change. So I think in the schools, if you start normalizing and teaching students their rights and teaching students what their future could be, then you'll have this group of youth really growing up, hearing the same type of things, which are the proper things about government, how government is supposed to work, how people are supposed to live. You have this next generation rising up and really coming together in the right way to work together for change in Nigeria.
Wow. Wow. That's.
I just think that along with intelligence, because Nigeria is all about study, study, study. It's more just like you mentioned, you know, degrees are nothing. But it's not only about intelligence, your intelligence quotient, your IQ. It's about your emotional quotient, your EQ. And I think a lot of that is lacking. You have people who are smart, who have their PhDs, but they don't even know how to empathize with somebody. And if you read any leadership book, if you study leadership, many books out there, anybody's going to say you have to lead with your heart. You have to encourage people. It's not even about what you know. It's how you make people feel. And that's what leadership is about. And just being able to be in touch with those emotions, something that Nigerians aren't used to, but being able to say sorry and say, you know what, we messed up and we failed you. It makes people connect with you more and say, okay, well, I trust you even more. And it's just about connecting. I think Nigerians do a great job of knowing, but they don't do a great job of connecting, emotionally especially.
Wow. I must tell you, I'm guilty of that every now and then. And I think I'll be going for some confession with any priest around after this, because these things are reality of, you know, where we find ourselves as in the cultural around us. Because again, the point has been made that many times we think, even in our thoughts, we think culturally, you know, and if that's the case, it is really something that we really need to start looking into on how to amend some of these cultural beliefs that are holding us down and continue to hold us down. Because you talk about education, like I said, you know, it does still amaze me how Nigerians grab the degrees even without the money. They still find a way to to read, and do all that. And but there comes a challenge of it appears though that how somebody is being kidnapped by someone, and after some time they become used to their kidnapper.
Yeah.
Some people call it Stockholm syndrome, right? And it appears as if we are now in that place where, a young person was telling me that, a policeman can stop you on the road and they have POS, and they just they get you to swap your card, to give them bribe.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying
that has become culture. We're just used to that now.
Yeah, and they're saying it as if that's just it, then we don't have problem. I'm like, no, we should have problem with that.
Right, they are just getting used to it. Because you see some roads are like just dilapidated and just run down. But instead of fixing the roads or really doing anything, people are just getting SUVs and cars that can just handle the road, as opposed to trying to get the funding and the laws in place or the people in place to fix the roads. They're just becoming used to it. They're just going on the other side and going over it. It's like, because they're used to it, they're like, oh no, they're not going to, the person in power is just going to say, I promise to fix the roads. They get in power, they're not going to fix the road. And that's just how it is.
So we have to manage.
But you mentioned at the local level, local leaders should be the ones, and local people be the ones to come together, fix your own roads. If it's not going to happen at the national level, if you really want it, we've got to work together. We've got to work together. We've got to stop being selfish, only worrying about ourselves, let alone our family. There's some people within a family only worried about themselves. Married couples, husband only cares about himself, leaves his wife to do whatever. Like it starts at the family unit. Unity starts in the home, and then it expands into the communities.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. It all goes back. Sometimes we think the Bible is outdated. But by the end of the day, we come back to it, because in Genesis we see God starting with family. Adam and Eve. And when we leave him, we go around, we get back to that, because again, a healthy family will beget a healthy nation by the end of the day. If the family is not healthy, guess what? The church will not, neither will the government be. So it all gets back to that Genesis 1, 2, and 3. That's amazing. Well, believe it or not, we are almost we are over 45 minutes into this, and I would love to go on and on. I'm amazed, Grace. I have to say this. I'm going to say it live. I remember your mom. Yeah, Hope is like, what is he going to say again? I don't trust Ike. He's going to say something now. Okay, I remember your mom saying, I think that was the first time I met her, and able to recognize that's who she is. And she said something. She said, people don't get to know Grace, but when they do, she's quite an amazing lady. That's your mom. Yeah, years ago. This over 13 years ago. And I've not really had opportunity to get to know you, but it's amazing. It's an honor to host you tonight, and just to hear you lots of, you were talking at the time. I had to look at your qualifications again. I'm like, we need to get you to be a minister in Nigeria. I'm not kidding. Run the government, right? Because it's really amazing. I mean, Hope, I've known Hope, so I know what she brings to the table. But really, it's an amazing ladies to speak with you. And again, if you're a young person listening out there, these are young people like us. And they've got this amount of knowledge, and they believe in you, especially if you are listening from Nigeria. They believe in you, and they believe we all can make this happen. So we're not going to lose hope. We have her seated here on the chair, so we're not going to lose her. And all the grace that we need, we have her seated here on the table as well. So hope and grace, that's all we need. for Nigeria to rise, Nigeria must rise. So I want to close tonight by saying if the young people are listening right now, and I know they will listen, Hope, speak to them. I speak to the ladies, please.
What I would say, I would just say that you have a voice and it matters, and you're smart, just like your counterpart. Let anybody know think that you're less than. You can achieve anything that you want to, and don't think that just because of what other people are saying you can't do more, and that your voice doesn't matter, that your vote doesn't matter. You're just as important. And I don't know, just don't be second class. But I think that's a lot of the time what people feel. Oh, he's a man, he can do this. Oh, this and that. No, you're a lady and you're smart. Who gave birth to that man? So just know that you're just as powerful. Yes. And we can be in charge of many lady presidents as well. So you're smart and you can make it as well.
Awesome. And that's a lady that has all boys, so you can bet you can listen to her. Yeah. and for Grace, you have an elder brother and a younger brother.
No, they're both older than me.
Daniel is older than you too. Oh Lord.
Why did you say that? No, I'm younger than you. So.
Okay, so guys, like I said, I'll be going for confession after this because some boo-boos are making here things that I ought to know. But there you go. You can see I'm not even going to tell if you're watching how related I am to these ladies. I ought to know these mistakes I'm making, but I have a picture of your dad here. I'm going to ask him to ask God on my behalf when I'm done.
My uncle thought I was older than Angles.
Oh, he did. Oh, I'm saved. I'm fine. Okay, good. So why? The point I'm trying to make now, having the opportunity to have brothers as well. Now they're all older than you. That's amazing. Even, what do you say to the guys that are listening, that are young men? What do you say to them?
You know what? We were blessed with two brothers who listened to our input. Wow. And I think that was a shock when we went to Nigeria a couple months ago. They were surprised that our brothers were listening to us. They were like, oh no, I don't think you should do this. And they'll be like, oh, okay. It didn't make them any weaker. They still had respect from people. They still had our respect. We weren't just telling them what to do.
Wow.
It's realizing that women have something to say because we come from a different perspective. So it's just a matter of respecting each other, just the perspective of each other, and then realizing that you are a unit that is working toward the same goal. We all want our family to be successful. So that's why I said it starts at the home. Siblings should be close, and siblings should take care of their parents and really care for each other so that not only your family thrives, but people who encounter you on the outside can also see you as a blessing. Because if you're selfish in your own home, you're not going to be a blessing to the people outside the home too.
Wow. Thank you, Hope. I know both of you come from a parents. Your dad, I've always said, blessed memory. I don't want to cry, but he listens to everybody. And, he literally listens to everybody to hear your opinion. I remember every now and then I'll get into theological debate with him. And he will listen. I know he's got his doctorate and masters in a lot of things, but I'll still talk. He will listen. When I'm done, he said, "Yeah, that makes sense," and he'll give his own opinion. And some of them, next time we're talking, he said, the other one we don't agree on it, but that's okay. We move on to the next, right? And that's been amazing for me, and I'm fortunate enough as well to grow under a father that lets me even criticize his sermon when he gets down from the pulpit. I say, you said that, but I don't agree with that, Dad. You got to explain yourself. And we will have that discussion. But again, what is nice to hear that this is possible. Guys, if you're listening, that you listen to your wife or your sister or your mom doesn't make you weak. Actually, it makes you strong.
Strength, yes.
It shows your strength. Because for me, I might be the head, but my wife is the neck. And I love the way she moves my head around, right? So it shows your strength. Actually, we need to start listening to each other. I think that's part of what we are saying tonight. We need to start listening to each other because we all have one or two or more than to contribute to our society, which in return will make our environment a better place to raise children. And then Nigeria will arise again. Now, thank you, ladies, again for this time. And thank you, our viewers, for having patience to go through all my laughing so loud. That's who we are. We bring who we are to all these things. And again, thank you, Grace, for this opportunity. We hope to have you again soon. And thank you, Hope, for making this happen again. Again, let me say this in closing. I think the two of you should do more of, something together, steady, not just the ones that happens once in 6 months. The two of you are great together. Yeah. I think you should do more of this. The chemical, just the two of you talking is amazing. I don't know if you ladies know Jesus and Jollof. Have you heard? Have you heard them? Yeah. And Hope told me she loved Jollof, so so we love our Jollof. If you know Nigeria, we love our Jollof. But again, it's nice having you ladies. Greetings to everybody. For you, our viewers, it's nice to have you listen to us. But again, we want to encourage you to keep the fight going. From me, the Maverick Priest, Ike, I'm your friend. Thank you for joining us.